Once upon a time, in a colorful town filled with laughter and tiny adventures, there lived a group of friends embarking on an unseen journey. They were not explorers of lands across the ocean, but they were experiencing changes within themselves as they stood on the bridge between childhood and adulthood. First, there was Mia. Mia was known for her bravery in climbing the tallest trees, but lately, she had been feeling different. She stood in front of the mirror one morning, noticing her face had sprinkled spots of acne that seemed to appear out of nowhere. "What's happening?" she wondered aloud with a tinge of worry. Next, there was Liam, whose voice was an instrument of wonder. However, one day during an assembly, his usual melodious voice suddenly croaked like a frog. His friends laughed, not to make fun, but Liam felt embarrassed. Then came Becky. She was feeling weary, and her thoughts seemed to weigh heavier each day. She couldn't help but wonder why her mood shifted like the wind. One moment she was giggling at a silly joke, and the next she was overwhelmed with worry over exams. Their wise teacher, Miss Lily, noticed her students were less energetic than usual. She decided to have a special talk. "Let's gather by the tree after lunch," she announced, smiling with understanding. When the last bell tolled, the friends found themselves on the grassy patch beneath the shady old oak. "I see you're all experiencing some changes," Miss Lily began, watching as the friends nodded. "You see, the journey of growing up is like sailing through both calm and stormy seas," she continued. "Our bodies do change, like with taller heights and sometimes unfamiliar features. It's all part of becoming who you are meant to be." Mia raised her hand shyly. "But what about these spots on my face?" Miss Lily nodded. "Oh, those are quite common. It's part of your skin adapting. Sometimes it happens, but it will eventually calm down with care and patience." Liam spoke next, clearing his throat. "And why does my voice sound like a frog sometimes?" With a gentle laugh, Miss Lily reassured him. "Your voice is finding its new range. Just like a musician tuning their instrument, it will settle soon, and it will be even stronger." Becky was last. "Why do I feel happy one moment and then worried the next?" Miss Lily smiled warmly. "Our hearts and minds go through changes too, not just our bodies. It's natural to feel a mix of emotions. The important thing is to talk about how you feel and know that you're never alone." The friends felt comforted by Miss Lily's words. Together, they learned to embrace their changes, share their worries, and support one another. They realized growing up wasn't a race to finish, but an adventure to savor. As weeks turned to months, the sun shone brighter on their faces, and they faced the world with renewed courage and camaraderie, always remembering Miss Lily's golden advice. And so, in the little town of laughter and tiny adventures, they learned that growing up wasn't just about changes, but about the friends who stand by you through them all. In a bright little town of Sunbeam Valley lived a lively 14-year-old boy named Max. Max was full of dreams and ideas, or, as his parents like to call it, teenage excitement. But lately, Max had been feeling like a bird trapped in a cage. It all started when Max came back from school one sunny day, bursting with an idea for a new project. "Mom, Dad, I've decided to build a rocket ship," he announced enthusiastically. His parents, Mr. and Mrs. Thompson, exchanged a wary glance. His mom sighed. "Max, that's a big project. Maybe you should focus on your school assignments instead." Max's face fell. "But Mom, I can handle both. I just need some space to try new things," he pleaded. His dad added, "We're not saying no, buddy, we're just saying think about what's really important right now." Max felt like his dream was slipping away. He went to his room, his mind a stormy sea of confusion. He wanted to be understood, not just heard. At dinner, things didn't get any better. Max realized that whenever he tried to talk about his feelings or ideas, his parents would gently steer the conversation back to school or chores. It felt like speaking different languages. One evening, Max's neighbor, Mr. Turner, noticed him sulking by the garden fence. "Hey champ, "Why the long face?" he asked. Max shrugged. "It's just, I want to do so much, but Mom and Dad don't get it." Mr. Turner nodded. "You know, Max, when I was your age, I felt the same," he admitted. "But here's a tip. Sometimes, talking to them calmly and telling them exactly how you feel can help." Max thought about Mr. Turner's advice. Maybe, just maybe, there was a way to show his parents that he was ready for a bit more freedom. The next evening, after dinner, Max stayed at the table as his parents were cleaning up. "Mom, Dad," he began hesitantly. "I know it seems like I'm just overwhelmed with wild ideas. It's just, I really want to explore these interests because they make me happy." His parents paused, turning to listen more closely. "I'm not asking for the moon, just a little room to grow. Maybe we could try setting up a schedule that lets me work on my projects and still get my homework done." Mrs. Thompson sat down, clearly moved. "You know, Max, we never realized how important it was to let you balance both. Maybe we should have more of these talks. You tell us what's on your heart and mind." Max smiled, a lightness spreading through his chest. It felt like dawn breaking after a long night. From that day on, the disagreements didn't disappear, but conversations became richer. Max learned that communicating his feelings could build bridges. His parents began valuing his independence. Together, they crafted a set of house rules that allowed Max his explorations while keeping in touch with family responsibilities. And so, in the little town of Sunbeam Valley, Max began designing his rocket ship, not just with tools and materials, but with newfound understanding and support. Once upon a time, in a bustling town filled with chirping birds and buzzing bees, there lived a teenager named Sam. Sam was known for his bright eyes and the wild mane of curly hair that bounced as he wandered around town. But recently, his eyes weren't as bright as they used to be, and his hair seemed to match the chaos of his thoughts. Sam faced a dilemma that many teenagers like him endure: the pressures of society and high expectations. Everybody around him kept talking about his future, the choices he should make, the career he should pursue, and the subject he should choose. Each day, Sam felt like he was standing at the crossroads, and the paths stretched far out beyond his imagination. One sunny afternoon, Sam sat under a sprawling oak tree in the park. The leaves danced above him, casting playful shadows on his face. He thought about how his heart whispered dreams of being an artist, painting landscapes that would transport people to different worlds. Meanwhile, the world around him echoed expectations of choosing a more secure profession, like becoming an engineer or a doctor. This clash between his desires and reality left Sam feeling dizzy. "How am I going to make the right choice?" he pondered, his gaze lost in the gentle sway of the branches. As if on cue, along came Maya, Sam's closest friend. Maya had a way of seeing things from a special angle, as if she viewed life through a kaleidoscope. Her steps crunched softly on the grass as she approached Sam. "Hey, what's up? You look like you've been battling dragons in your mind," Maya teased, plopping down beside him. Sam sighed. "It's the same old stuff, Maya. Everyone wants me to be something I'm not sure I want to be. I'm torn between being responsible and following my dreams." Maya nodded understandingly. "I feel ya. It's like being asked to pick between an adventure in the jungle and a safe trip to the library. Either way, you're going to learn loads, but the experiences will be worlds apart." With her words, Maya painted a picture in Sam's mind. He saw paths on his life's journey, some filled with adventure and thrilling uncertainty, others paved with safety and responsibility. As the afternoon sun began to sink behind the hills, painting the sky with shades of purple and orange, Sam realized something important. Why couldn't he carve his own path, one that combined both adventure and responsibility? The world was vast, full of opportunities that could balance his passions and societal expectations. He decided to explore art as a hobby, allowing creativity to flourish while pursuing a career that provided security. "You know, Maya," Sam said confidently, Perhaps I'll be an engineer who paints landscapes on weekends. That way, I can have the best of both worlds. Maya grinned. That sounds perfect, Sam. Remember, you don't have to choose between your heart and your mind. They can work together. And so, as the stars peeked into the evening sky, Sam felt lighter, like a bird ready to take flight. The decision was made. He wouldn't have to settle. Instead, he'd weave his passion into his life's fabric. With that, the world seemed a little less daunting and the stars a little closer. Under the canopy of stars and kindness, Sam knew that his future was his to craft, one brushstroke and blueprint at a time. Once upon a time, in the bustling town of Riverwood, there lived a curious teenager named Alex. Riverwood was famous for its enchanting whispering trees and sparkling rivers, and Alex spent his days exploring these majestic lands. But secretly, he struggled with a big question: who am I? Alex loved to paint, and could often be found sketching beneath the colossal oak tree near the riverbank. One sunny morning, while painting the colors of the world around him, Alex shared his worry with his best friend, Mia. Mia, he sighed, I just don't know who I am or who I want to be. It's so confusing sometimes. Mia, an energetic girl with a knack for solving puzzles, tilted her head thoughtfully. Maybe it's like a puzzle, Alex, she replied. You just have to find the pieces and fit them together. That afternoon, Alex decided he would go on an adventure to discover his identity. He packed a small backpack with snacks, a journal, and his favorite paintbrush, ready to find each piece of his life's puzzle. Alex visited Old Man Oliver, the town storyteller. You need to follow your heart, Old Man Oliver advised, handing Alex a map. And maybe this map will lead you to your answers. Map in hand, Alex set off towards the forest of whispers. Far beyond Riverwood, the trees rustled and whispered, sharing stories of those who had passed before. Among the whispering trees, Alex found a talking owl named Oliver who hooted messages of wisdom. Confidence comes with discovery. It hooted, listen closely, believe in your uniqueness. Oliver guided Alex to the lake of reflections. Here, Alex saw more than his physical self. He saw bravery in his heart and kindness in his eyes. Suddenly a splash. A playful fish named Finn leapt out of the water, giggling. Why so serious, Alex? Finn asked. Life is to be enjoyed. Each experience is a brushstroke on your life's canvas. Inspired by Finn's carefree nature, Alex danced, creating ripples in the water, embracing the fun side of his personality. Continuing his journey, Alex stumbled upon a marvelous meadow. The flowers talked in gentle whispers. It's okay to be unsure, said a daffodil. Questioning means you're growing. Alex knelt down to smell a bluebell. What if I'm not good enough? He whispered. Every flower has petals, the bluebell assured him. Comparing yourself to others hinders your bloom. Alex took a nap beneath the stars, finding comfort in their constellations. Each star formed patterns, just as his life experiences shaped his identity. The next morning, Mia caught up with Alex. I was worried, she said, but also knew you'd learn a lot. Alex proudly showed Mia the sketches he had drawn of his journey. I think I found parts of me, he said. I'm adventurous, artistic, and still growing. Together, Alex and Mia walked through Riverwood, contemplating what adventures lay ahead. As they walked by the river, an elder passed by, sharing a smile. Never rush identity, she said. In time, clarity will bloom much like a rose. Inspired, Alex picked a wild rose. Like this flower, I'll grow at my own pace. Each thorn, each petal is a part of me, he thought aloud. Returning home, Alex hugged his parents and shared his tales, feeling more at ease. We're proud of you, his parents said. Who you're becoming is the real magic. That night, Alex wrote in his journal, penning down everything he'd learned about the joy of discovery and the beauty of uncertainty. Back in school, Alex painted a mural depicting his adventure. He inspired other students to embark on their journeys. Identity isn't a destination, but a dynamic adventure, Alex explained to his classmates, gaining confidence. Around him, other students marveled, sharing their own struggles and ideas, uniting in their quest for self-understanding. Alex understood now that everyone was like a puzzle. Sometimes the pieces didn't fit immediately, but with patience and exploration, the puzzle pieces began revealing a picture. Encouraged, Alex led a group of friends on weekend quests to explore nature and themselves. Through these adventures, Alex recognized his strengths and accepted his weaknesses, growing more confident each day. In the heart of Riverwood, whispers of identity and transition flowed with the river's current. By learning to trust himself, Alex found peace in his journey. At the end of each quest, Alex would talk to Mia about hopes and dreams they crafted like delicate paintings. The whispers of the past now formed a melody of self-assurance that Alex carried within. His adventures might change, but his journey remained steady. As Alex lay once again under the colossal oak, he realized that identity was an endless adventure worth every effort, every brushstroke. And thus, in the vibrant land of Riverwood, Alex discovered that the path to knowing oneself was lined with mystery, laughter, and endless growth. Once upon a time, in a bright suburban neighborhood, lived a teenager named Liam. He was a thoughtful boy with curly hair and dreams bigger than the sky. But lately, the weight of the upcoming examinations made his heart race faster than a cheetah. Liam sits at his desk, surrounded by textbooks, scribbling furiously but feeling overwhelmed. The tick-tock of the clock on his wall ticks louder with each passing moment. Dinner time arrives, and his parents ask, "How's the studying going, Liam?" Liam's smile hides the storm inside. "Good," he replies, even though the pressure feels like a mountain on his shoulders. The next morning on the school bus, Liam confides in his best friend Max. "I'm so stressed about the exams. I don't want to let my parents down." Max nods, understandingly. "I know exactly how you feel, but remember, we'll get through this together." In class, the teacher announces the test date, sending a shiver down Liam's spine. His mind flashes with thoughts of failure and disappointment. At home, Liam's parents remind him how proud they are, yet he fears not meeting their expectations. Sleepless nights become frequent as he tosses and turns, imagining all the what-ifs. His trusted stuffed animal, Rocky the bear, offers a silent comfort from the bedside table. One day, Liam stumbles upon an old book titled Courage in the Face of Fear. Inspired, he reads through stories of other teens overcoming their struggles. Slowly, he devises a study plan. "I can do this, one step at a time," Liam whispers to Rocky. Practice tests become his nightly ritual, and with each pencil scratch, he regains confidence. During a family outing, Liam finally confesses his stress to his parents. "I've been so worried about disappointing you," he admits. His mom hugs him tight. "We love you no matter what, just do your best." As the exam day approaches, Liam feels the flutter of anxiety, but also a grounded hope. In the school hall, Liam breathes deeply, Max by his side. "Let's ace this." The test is challenging, but Liam recalls his late-night practice and keeps his focus. With each question answered, his confidence begins to shine like the morning sun. Once the test is over, he lets out a sigh of relief. "I gave it my all," Liam tells Max, who high-fives him. Now, it's the waiting game for results. Liam embraces the freedom from study stress, at least temporarily. On the playground, he swings higher and realizes life goes beyond grades. Results day arrives, and Liam's hands tremble as he opens the envelope. To his surprise, he has done well. Pride swells in him. He rushes home to share the news. Liam's parents beam with happiness but remind him, your value isn't in the numbers, it's who you are. Liam reflects on the journey and notices how his confidence has grown beyond academics. At school, he mentors younger students who struggle with stress. A talent show is announced and Liam's hidden passion for music blossoms. On stage, with a guitar in hand, he serenades the crowd, showcasing his true self. Through ups and downs, Liam learned that courage in the face of fear is what carries dreams closer to reality. Once upon a time, in the bustling digital village of Tweeville, lived a group of vibrant teenagers, each with their own unique personalities. Let's meet them. First, there was Lily. She was an imaginative soul with a passion for painting. Often, she shared her artwork on a platform called Scrumblr. But every time she scrolled through her feed, she couldn't help but compare her posts to those of artists with thousands of followers. Why can't my paintings look as perfect as theirs? She often wondered, her self-confidence shrinking with every like her posts failed to collect. Next, we have Max. Max was known as the tech whiz in town. He spent hours tinkering with gadgets and coding apps. His favorite hangout was Zapchat, where he connected with coders from around the world. However, Max had a hard time putting down his phone, even when it was bedtime. The bright screen in the dark kept him awake, and he began to notice how sleepy he felt during school, struggling to pay attention to what Mr. Baker was teaching. Then came Ella, the social butterfly, whose charm was undeniable both offline and online. Her daily routine started with a sunrise photo post and ended with replying to hundreds of comments or photos received. But the constant buzzing of notifications was too tempting to ignore. It was affecting her schoolwork because she couldn't focus long enough without checking her phone for little pings of approval. One bright Monday morning, as they gathered at their usual spot in the schoolyard, Max yawned widely. Did anyone else see that new update on Social Sprouts last night? I pulled an all-nighter. Lily shrugged. I saw. Everyone's been talking about it this morning, but I couldn't even paint last night because I felt my art just doesn't measure up to those influencers. Ella tapped quietly on her phone. I'm 2 comments away from breaking my most engaging record, she said without glancing up. Their friend Lucas, a book lover who preferred old-school paperbacks over any kind of screen, shook his head. Guys, I think we need a break. It's important to remember that these platforms are just highlights. Everyone picks and shows us what they show. Don't let that cloud your view. The group paused to think about Lucas' words. Maybe you're right, Ella murmured. Perhaps I should set times in my day when I don't check my phone. Max nodded. No screens an hour before bed might help me sleep better. As for Lily, she decided to reach out to one of her favorite online artists who often shared her struggles with self-doubt. Through this new friendship, Lily realized that even experienced artists could feel insecure about their work. With these small changes, the teens began to find a healthier balance between their digital lives and the real world. And even in Tweeville, where every moment could be snapped and shared, they learned it's okay to set their phones aside and just enjoy the world around them. And that's where true happiness began. And so, despite the digital challenges, they lived quite happily ever after. Once upon a time in a bustling town called Willow Creek, there was a teen named Alex who always seemed to have trouble making friends. Despite having a warm heart and a great sense of humor, Alex often found himself sitting alone during lunch breaks and wandering the school hallways with a book as his only companion. One sunny morning, as the town's bell rang, signaling the start of the school day, Alex tripped over his shoelaces in front of the school gates and fell flat on his face. Books and papers scattered everywhere. Suddenly, a hand appeared, helping him gather his belongings. It was Sam, a new student with an equally shy demeanor. Thanks, Alex murmured, brushing off his jeans. No problem, Sam replied with a shy smile. I'm new here. Mind showing me around? This was the beginning of a budding friendship. They soon discovered that they both loved superhero comics and had a shared interest in nature photography. Every afternoon, they would explore different parts of Willow Creek together, snapping photos of flowers, birds, and anything that caught their interest. However, as weeks passed, Alex noticed that some students started excluding them. Whispers followed them in the corridors, and cruel jokes were hurled their way in hushed tones. In a crowded school cafeteria, Alex overheard a group of students mocking him and Sam. They called them the odd pair, and for the first time, Alex felt the sting of social isolation pierce his newfound happiness. Later that afternoon, Alex and Sam walked to the quiet park near Willow Creek. Despite the pleasant golden hues of the setting sun, Alex couldn't help but blurt out his frustration. "Why is it so hard to fit in? Why do they have to be so mean?" he exclaimed. Sam, who was kicking a loose pebble, tossed a reassuring smile. "People can be afraid of what they don't understand," Sam said. "As long as we have each other's back, we'll be okay." Alex stood at his bedroom window that night, staring at the stars. His thoughts swirled around how to overcome the barriers between him and the other students. After the audition, a spirited girl named Emma approached him. "Hey, you did great out there. I'm part of the costume team. Maybe you could join us sometime with your photography skills," Emma suggested with genuine interest. Slowly, Alex and Sam found themselves talking to more classmates, sharing laughs and stories. Alex realized that stepping out of his comfort zone pushed him into opportunities he would have never imagined. One day, at the school assembly, the principal announced a talent show. Alex and Sam decided to participate, combining Sam's musical talent and Alex's photography into a unique storytelling performance. The talent show was a resounding success. The duo received applause and genuine admiration from their peers. For the first time, Alex didn't feel invisible. Afterward, Alex and Sam were approached by several students wanting to know more about their interests. The ice was broken, and new friendships began to blossom. At the year's end, Alex stood in front of his old school gate, reflecting on how much had changed. The once daunting entrance now felt welcoming, like the embrace of a trusted friend. Alex waved at Sam, who was across the street. "Let's make more memories together," he shouted over the buzz of the bustling town. And with that, Willow Creek was no longer just another place in the map. It was the home of carefree adventures, laughter, and bonds that no amount of whispers could ever break. With friendship and resilience, Alex learned the joy of acceptance by just being himself and allowing others to see the wonderful person he truly was. Once upon a time, in the bustling town of Brooksville, there was a young teenage boy named Alex. Alex had just begun high school and was eager to make friends and fit in. He had heard all sorts of stories about the importance of being part of the cool group. Every day at lunch, Alex watched as the popular kids gathered at a table decorated with laughter and shiny gadgets. They seemed like they were having the time of their lives, and Alex wished more than anything to be one of them. One day, as Alex was munching on his sandwich alone, he was approached by Jack, the leader of the cool group. Jack flashed a warm smile and said, "Hey Alex, why don't you come and join us at our table? We've noticed you hanging around, and everyone says how great you were at basketball." Overwhelmed with excitement, Alex agreed without hesitation. When he got to the table, Jack and his pals were discussing their weekend exploits. Alex felt important and included, but he soon realized they were talking about things he wasn't comfortable with. "We're all planning to sneak out tonight and meet up for a party. You're coming, right?" Jack asked. Alex hesitated. Though he wanted to say yes, he knew his parents encouraged wise decisions. He remembered their talks about staying true to himself and making responsible choices. Sounds fun, but I'm supposed to visit my grandparents tomorrow. You guys have fun," Alex replied. Jack looked at him, slightly surprised, but brushed it off and continued with his plans. Alex spent the rest of the day wondering if he made a mistake. However, when he reached home, his mom greeted him with the news that his grandparents had arrived early. He spent the evening playing cards and hearing stories about his family's history. Laughing, Alex realized how much he enjoyed being with people who genuinely cared about him. The next day at school, Alex wasn't sure what to expect. As he walked into the lunchroom, Jack waved him over. "Hey Alex, join us." Alex was puzzled but joined them. Surprisingly, the conversation wasn't about parties but a basketball game. Jack asked, "How about playing with us after school? We could use some tips from you." Through his journey, Alex learned two valuable lessons. First, being true to oneself is far more rewarding than trying to fit in. Second, sometimes others might respect you more for your choices than you expect. Every day, more teens like Alex face the pressures of fitting into certain groups. But as Alex showed, it's important to be yourself and choose the path that makes you truly happy, even if it means saying no to the crowd. This way, lasting friendships based on respect and shared interests can be formed. And who knows, maybe you'll start your own group that's just perfect for you. Once upon a time, in a charming little town nestled between rolling hills, there lived a group of teenagers attending Maplewood High School. Life for them was like a roller coaster, full of ups and downs, twists and turns, mainly because of their overwhelming emotions. Our story stars two best friends, Emily and Jake. Emily was a bright and cheerful girl who loved painting, while Jake was known for his kind heart and his passion for playing guitar. One sunny morning, Emily woke up feeling ecstatic. She felt more excited than ever to paint her masterpiece for the school art competition. Her joy was contagious, and even her mom couldn't help but smile as she watched Emily blissfully eat her breakfast. Meanwhile, Jake felt a pang of anxiety today. He was supposed to perform at the school talent show next week. He sat at his kitchen table, guitar in hand, thinking about all the people that would watch him, and his heart thumped like a drum. At school, as the bell rang signaling lunchtime, Emily sat with Jake under their favorite oak tree. She noticed his solemn expression. "Hey, what's bothering you, Jake?" she asked. Jake sighed. "I'm just so worried about the talent show," he confessed. "What if I mess up in front of everyone?" Emily pondered, then smiled brightly. "Don't worry, Jake. Remember, you're amazing. Just imagine you're playing just for me," she giggled. As days went by, Emily experienced her own emotional roller coaster. She stared at her canvas, feeling overwhelmingly sad. Her art didn't feel right. She pushed her paints away frustratedly. Her mood dipped like a falling kite. At school, Emily told Jake with tears in her eyes, "I feel like I'll never finish my painting, and even if I do, it won't be good enough." Jake listened intently and consoled her. "You always make magic with colors, Emily. Don't be too hard on yourself." That afternoon, they walked home together, sharing stories and laughter, finding solace in each other's company, feeling grateful for their friendship. On the day of the talent show, Jake, with shaky hands, stood backstage. But then he spotted Emily in the audience, cheering him on. Her presence was all he needed. He played his guitar beautifully, and his anxiety vanished like mist in the morning sun. Meanwhile, Emily stood at her easel in the art room, inspired by watching Jake triumph over his fears. Her hand moved gracefully, and finally, her painting felt complete, resonating with bright colors and warmth. Days later, as Emily unveiled her painting at the competition, a wave of happiness washed over her. She realized that expressing her emotions through art was what mattered the most. Both Emily and Jake learned that emotional ups and downs are just part of growing up, and that sometimes a little support from friends could overcome even the most challenging feelings. And so, the roller coaster of teenage emotions continued, teaching them lessons and shaping them into who they are meant to be. And just like that, in the little town between the hills, life went on with laughter, tears, and friendships that made every twist and turn worthwhile. The end. Once upon a time, in a small town, lived a group of teenage friends: Sam, Alex, Lily, and Mia. They were inseparable and always up for an adventure. But lately, they all had been feeling rebellious. Sam sat in his room, staring out the window. He felt trapped. The strict rules of his parents seemed unfair to him. Why can't I just make my own decisions for once? He grumbled to himself. Alex was at school, sitting in math class. His mind wandered, thinking about skateboarding at the park. The teacher's voice droned on, but Alex's spirit was already soaring far from the classroom's walls. Lily paced in her room, frustrated. She wanted to dye her hair purple, but her mom insisted it wasn't allowed. Lily was determined to express herself, even if it meant bending the rules. Mia sat at the dinner table, refusing to eat the spinach salad her dad made. I'm old enough to decide what I want to eat, right? She declared, arms crossed defiantly. The group gathered at Sam's house after school. I'm sick of these rules everywhere, Sam said, throwing his book bag on the floor. There has to be a way to show them we want our freedom, added Lily. My parents just don't get it, Alex sighed, flipping his skateboard. They think we're still kids. Mia nodded. We got to do something about this, she said, with determination in her eyes. The friends decided on a plan to demonstrate their unity and stand for their freedom. They each picked one rule they wanted to change for what they felt was fair for teenagers. Sam chose the curfew issue. He wanted to be trusted to come back on time without a rigid limit. Alex was set on the school's no skateboarding rule during recess. To him, it was about showing he can balance both school and fun. Lily decided to argue for her choice of hair color, which she felt was a part of her identity. Mia wanted more control over her meals. She believed that making choices about food was a step toward independence. The group worked hard, crafting their speeches, and had a meeting scheduled with the parents and teachers. The day of the meeting arrived. The teenagers felt nervous, but were committed to speaking up. Sam was the first to speak. I respect my parents, but I hope they can respect my desire for a bit more responsibility, he began. Alex showed his eagerness for balance. Learning can be fun if we add activities we love. Lily expressed, my hair color doesn't change who I am, but it lets me show my creativity. I want to feel like myself. Mia explained her point. Choosing what I eat makes me feel like I have some control over my life. The parents listened quietly, impressed by the thoughtfulness of their children. The teachers were surprised by Alex's approach and considered opening up certain areas for skateboarding. Lily's mom looked at her daughter, seeing the determination, and began to rethink her stance about hair dye. Mia's dad understood her point and agreed to involve her more in meal planning. Discussions continued, with compromises being offered on both sides. The meeting ended on a happy note, with the parents and teachers promising to consider the teenagers' requests. The friends left feeling accomplished. They realized that respectful conversation could lead to understanding. Sam felt proud that he had voiced his needs and was heard. Alex couldn't wait to tell everyone at school about how they changed some skateboarding rules. Lily felt like she was finally in control of her image. Her purple hair quest was a step closer. Mia cherished the idea of choosing her meals and felt a stronger bond with her family over mutual respect. The friends learned that while rebellion might seem like the first answer, cooperation and communication sometimes brought long-lasting change. They smiled, looking forward to new adventures, knowing they were developing into thoughtful young adults. Once upon a time, in a small town nestled between rolling hills and a sparkling river, lived a curious teenage boy named James. James was known for his wide smile, playful nature, and his thirst for new experiences, like any other teenager. One sunny afternoon, James was hanging out with his friends, Alex and Sam, at the park. The birds were chirping, and the leaves rustled gently in the breeze. Hey, have you guys ever tried smoking? Alex asked, with a mischievous spark in his eye. James had heard about smoking before, but he'd never tried it. No, I haven't, but I heard it's bad for you, James replied cautiously. Now, come on, Don't be a chicken, Sam teased, pulling out a pack of cigarettes from his pocket. Curious and wanting to fit in, James hesitated, but with his friends encouraging him, he took a puff. Instantly, he coughed and his eyes watered. "This is awful," he exclaimed. After that day, James reflected on the risk he had taken. He remembered what his health teacher, Mrs. Green, always said: "Your body is your temple. Whatever you put in affects you physically and mentally." Imagining the disappointed look in her kind eyes, James decided it wasn't worth it. He'd rather be healthy than fit in. On another day, James found himself facing a different kind of challenge. The Greenwood Youth Center was having a dance event, and James was nervous. He had never danced in front of people before. "Just imagine everyone is as scared as you are," his mom reassured him. With her comforting words in mind, James gingerly stepped onto the dance floor. His friends surrounded him, and as the music played, they encouraged him, and soon James found himself moving to the rhythm. As the evening went on, James let go of his fears. He twirled and laughed like never before. He realized he had been worried for nothing. Dancing with his friends and seeing everyone having a good time filled him with joy and confidence. Through these experiences, James grew to understand the value of making safe choices and the importance of stepping out of his comfort zone. He learned that while it's exciting to try new things, it's even more important to make choices that nurture and support his well-being. James' story became one of discovery, friendship, and the delicate balance of exploration and caution. His teenage adventures taught him about the world, his friends, and most importantly, about himself. To this day, James still holds onto these lessons, navigating his teenage years with a thoughtful heart and a curious spirit. Under the golden glow of the early morning sun, Max, a spirited and curious teenager, woke up with a sense of adventure. Max lived in the small town of Maplewood, and like many teenagers, he faced typical teenage challenges. But today, he felt something different in the air, a new challenge, and it was all about understanding moral commitment. Max's mom, Mrs. Thompson, called out from the kitchen, "Remember to respect your teachers and classmates today, Max." Max grinned, grabbing his backpack and rushing downstairs. Respect was more than just a rule in their home. It was a foundation. Max always admired how his parents cared deeply about family values. As Max strolled to Maplewood High, he mulled over his mom's words. "Respect," he repeated to himself. He remembered Mr. Hill, the math teacher who often stood by students even when they struggled. Mr. Hill's kindness echoed the respect Max wanted to replicate. At school, Max stumbled upon a scene where his friend Jeff was being bullied by a group of older students. Max's heart pounded. The bully towered over Jeff, sneering and jeering. It was then Max remembered his promise to stand against injustice and protect those who couldn't protect themselves. Taking a deep breath, Max boldly stepped forward. "Come on, guys, leave him alone. That's not cool at all." The bullies frowned, grumbled, but eventually scattered away. Jeff, relieved and grateful, thanked Max, who shrugged it off, saying, "Just standing by my promise of not tolerating bullying." On their way to history class, Max and Jeff talked about promises. "It's not just about the words, Jeff. It's about keeping them too," Max said, recalling an instance when he kept a promise to his sister to teach her basketball. Promises were like fragile glass, easily broken but beautiful when upheld. During lunch, Max encountered an opportunity to help others when some younger students struggled with their science project. Max found it easy to assist, explaining concepts patiently and offering tips. Remembering the commitment to help others in need, Max felt a warmth radiate inside him as the younger students smiled in understanding and appreciation. In the afternoon, the class was given a test. Max noticed Jane, a regular top scorer, glancing around nervously. She was tempted to cheat. Max leaned over and whispered, "You can do it, Jane. Just trust yourself." Encouraged, Jane took a deep breath and focused on her paper. Cheating not only deprived her of learning, but also breached the ethical line Max vowed not to cross. As the day came to a close, Max walked home feeling proud, yet humble. The air was cool, autumn leaves crunched beneath his feet, and a sense of fulfillment filled his heart. He understood the concept of moral commitment more intimately, realizing it was not just about following rules, but about living with integrity and helping weave a better world. Back at home, Mrs. Thompson asked him about his day. Max shared his experiences, and his mother smiled warmly. "That's my boy. Moral values shape who we become." With a nod, Max agreed, and thought about how he would continue to honor these values each day. A true teen ambassador of respect, integrity, and kindness, setting an example for his peers, one thoughtful choice at a time. Thus, Max embraced the challenges of growing up, understanding that moral commitment isn't just something you practice, it's something you are. Once upon a time, in the bustling town of Teentown, lived a curious group of teenagers, each eager to prove themselves to the world. Their names were Alex, Mia, Jake, and Emma, and together, they embarked on a journey filled with the thrill of new experiences, some of which taught them valuable lessons. One sunny afternoon, Alex proposed an adventure to his friends. "Let's try something daring. I heard some kids talk about smoking, drinking, and even trying some substances," he exclaimed with excitement. He wanted to fit in with the older kids and show he wasn't afraid. Mia hesitated. "Isn't that dangerous? What if something bad happens to us?" The group pondered her words, but the lure of trying something grown-up made them restless. They found a secret spot beside the river where older teens usually hung out. Alex bravely tried to puff of smoke, which made him splutter and cough. "Bleh, this tastes awful," he said with a puzzled look. Emma dared to take a sip from a bottle passed among them. The bitterness surprised her. "Who'd want to drink this stuff? It's bitter and burns," she exclaimed, making a funny face. As they were gathering their thoughts, an older teen named Ben approached. "Hey, curious about the world of grown-ups?" he asked kindly. Ben had seen them trying to imitate the older kids. Ben sat with them and shared his story. "I got caught in the same trap of proving myself to others. It didn't end well. Don't let these things define you," he advised wisely. Jake, who was quiet up until now, finally spoke. "I guess we don't need to do this stuff to prove who we are. We can find better ways." His words were met with nods of agreement. Though tempted, the group decided to stick together and resist peer pressure. They realized their friendship was worth more than risky adventures. On another occasion, the friends faced a different kind of challenge. They were invited to a social gathering filled with unfamiliar faces. Walking in, Mia whispered, "I don't know anyone here. Do you guys know anyone?" They huddled together for comfort. Emma decided to break the ice. "Hey, let's introduce ourselves," she suggested. The group ventured out to start new conversations. To their surprise, many teens shared similar interests and stories. "You like gaming?" "Me too," exclaimed Jake, delighted at finding new friends. Though nervous, Alex faced his fear of public speaking. "Hi everyone, we're new here. Shall we play a game together?" he boldly proposed. They played laughter-filled games together, which melted away anxieties and replaced them with joyful camaraderie. During a game, Jake spotted a kid sitting alone and went to check on him. "Hey, want to join?" he kindly asked. His gesture made the lonely teen smile. "Thanks, I felt awkward being alone," he admitted. The kids learned that strangers might become friends, forming bonds over shared fun. The lonely teen introduced himself as Noah and soon blended into the group seamlessly. Through new connections, the teens discovered that social adventures taught them to tackle challenges positively. Later that night, Alex, lying in bed, pondered over the day. Building confidence without bad choices sure feels better, he mused happily. In the morning, they met at their favorite hangout spot. Yesterday was better than trying risky stuff, Emma acknowledged, smiling. Inspired by their experiences, Mia suggested, let's go join a sports club. I bet there are tons of cool activities. The group agreed, dreaming of exciting yet safe adventures. We can learn new skills and have fun, Jake added enthusiastically. As they walked to school, they felt thankful for their friendship, built on supportive experiences and new hopes. Next time life throws something challenging, remember we've got each other. Ben's words echoed in their heads. They appreciated learning from each other's differences, becoming stronger as a team. They continued sharing dreams, fueling their imaginations and planning future journeys. Before parting ways, they made a pledge of friendship, vowing to face future risks and adventures together. They realized that teenhood was a canvas of colorful experiences, and they were the painters. With hearts full of hope and dreams, they walked into the horizon, eager for the adventures of tomorrow. Once in a bustling little town, there lived a family called the Rivers. The Rivers family consisted of Mr. and Mrs. Rivers and their two teenage children, Jake and Lily. Both Jake and Lily were wonderful kids, but like many teenagers, they faced a few problems that often made life a tad challenging. Jake slammed the door to his room. Why won't they understand? He huffed, plopping down on his bed. His room was a sanctuary filled with posters of astronauts and a desk cluttered with gadgets. Meanwhile, Lily was in her room, furiously texting her best friend. Can you believe they said no to the concert? Her voice echoed frustration, sprinkled with just a hint of teenage rebellion. Her walls were covered in posters of her favorite bands and art she loved to paint. At dinner, Mr. and Mrs. Rivers noticed their kids' glum faces. How was your day, kids? Asked Mrs. Rivers, serving the spaghetti. Jake poked at his spaghetti. Same old, he mumbled, not meeting her eyes. Lily frowned. I wanted to go to a concert with my friends, but she trailed off as she twirled her fork in her plate. Mr. Rivers put down his fork gently. Let's talk about that, he suggested, voice calm and inviting. Jake sighed, and you never let me hang out late. It's like you don't trust me. Mrs. Rivers reached over to hold Jake's hand. It's not about trust, Jake. We worry because we care, but maybe we can work something out. Lily, slightly encouraged by her mother's response to Jake, added, and what about the concert? I just feel like I'm missing out on everything. We hear you, Lily, said Mr. Rivers kindly. It's not that we want to say no. We just want to make sure you're safe. How about we look over the details together and see if we can figure something out? Jake and Lily exchanged glances, surprised but relieved. That would be nice, Lily said quietly. The discussion moved to the living room where they could relax. Mr. Rivers brought out his laptop. All right, let's see who's performing and where. We can check the concert hall's safety measures too. Lily, sitting next to her dad, felt reassured. Okay, Dad, thanks for understanding. And as for you, Jake, Mrs. Rivers continued, perhaps you can hang out with your friends later on Saturday, if you promise to call us to check in. Jake, taken aback by the compromise, nodded. Yeah, I can do that. I just didn't realize you were worried. Communication is key, Mr. Rivers said, smiling. When you both come to us and explain, we can try to see it from your point of view. Jake chuckled. All right, we'll try talking more often. Lily yawned and snuggled into the couch, feeling content. Feels good when we all talk, right? The family all nodded in agreement, understanding now how much clearer things were when people truly talk things through. Before heading to bed, Jake approached his parents. Thanks for listening. I guess I didn't see it from your side. Mr. Rivers tousled Jake's hair playfully. Anytime, sport. Remember, we're always here to help. Lily hugged her parents tightly. Good night, Thanks for hearing me out too. Mrs. Rivers smiled warmly. We love you dearly, and we just want you both safe and happy. After their kids had gone to bed, Mr. and Mrs. Rivers sat together enjoying a cup of tea, reflecting on how rewarding it felt to connect with their teenage children. Jake lay in bed, scrolling through pictures of spaceships, musing how things look clearer now. Lily, gazing at her concert posters, felt a wave of excitement knowing she might go soon. In the morning, the Rivers connected over breakfast, laughter filling the kitchen. Jake teased his sister, "Better pick out your concert outfit." Lily grinned, "Only if you promise not to lose your way late at night." The Rivers family smiled, feeling the warmth of understanding and the joy that came from simply sitting down and talking things through. Once upon a time, in the colorful town of Harmonyville, there lived a group of teenagers who were as different as night and day. Each had their own unique personality, dreams, and, of course, challenges. Among them was Ellie, a creative soul who loved painting more than anything in the world. But Ellie felt anxious about fitting in, as her fascination with colors made her different from others. Next was Tom, a boy who could always be found with his nose in a book. Tom loved stories of heroes and adventures, but his quiet nature often made it difficult for him to make friends. Then there was Max, the sporty one, who could run faster than a deer and jump higher than a kangaroo. Max's confidence on the field was unmatched, but often he worried about not being smart enough. Nearby sat Lisa, who had a beautiful singing voice that rivaled the nightingale. She dreamt of being a famous singer one day. However, she often wondered if her big dreams were too foolish to follow. Lastly, there was Jack, the tech wizard of the group. He could build anything from robots to rockets, but his struggle was dealing with bullies who teased him for being nerdy. As they began sharing their stories under the old oak tree, a curious squirrel stopped by and listened, adding a whimsical air to the scene. It was then that they made a pact to support each other. A few scenes later, Ellie had a school art competition to prepare for. With the encouragement of her friends, she painted her heart out and discovered a new confidence she never knew she had. Her piece, titled Harmony in Colors, won first prize and was displayed in the town's art gallery. For Tom, the group helped him start a book club at school. To his surprise, many classmates joined, and he found himself leading lively discussions. This brought out a new side of him, no longer shy, but a budding leader. Meanwhile, Max faced the academic challenge head-on. With Lisa's help, he prepared diligently for exams and passed with flying colors. Realizing that being athletic was just one part of him, Max learned that he could be both active and clever. Lisa overcame her fear of judgment by singing in the school concert. Watched proudly by her friends, her performance was magical, and she realized the importance of pursuing her passions regardless of others' opinions. Lastly, the bullying stopped for Jack when Max stood up for him, showing the bullies that no one should be teased for their interests. Jack then shared his skills, helping Tom's book club by designing a digital newsletter and assisting Ellie with visual effect for her art projects. Through these 30 scenes of adventure, laughter, tears, and triumphs, the group of friends learned that together they could overcome any challenge. They discovered that being true to themselves and embracing their unique differences was the real adventure of adolescence. With the old oak tree as their witness, their bond only grew stronger, setting them up for the grand journey of life ahead. Once upon a time, in a vibrant and bustling town filled with colors and laughter, there lived a group of teens with a special challenge. Each young friend had a voice filled with ideas and dreams, but somehow they found it hard to express their inner selves. Meet Jake, a bright-eyed boy with a love for painting, but his voice would whisper only to his canvas. Then there's Lucy, who adored playing the guitar, but her tunes were shared with the stars and the moon. Alongside them was Amir, an aspiring scientist with equations and formulas lining his notebooks, speaking only to the numbers. One sunny afternoon, the three friends sat under their favorite oak tree, feeling the breeze and hearing the town's hustle. Jake painted, Lucy strummed, and Amir calculated. Yet their eyes met, and they saw a longing to share their hidden voices. "I wish people could see our paintings," said Jake softly. "And hear our music," replied Lucy with her guitar. "And understand the wonders of science," Amir added, holding his notebook. A hopeful shimmer appeared in their hearts as they realized they needed a plan. As the sun set, coloring the sky, they decided to create the Voices Unlocked Festival, a day for every teen to express their silent brilliance. The trio went door to door across the town, inviting their young peers to join in. They planned booths for art, music stages, and science corners, where whispers could turn into radiant conversations. On the day of the festival, the town square buzzed with excitement. Paintings adorned every corner, guitars sang to the sun, and experiments glistened in the eyes of the curious. Jake exhibited a mural that spoke volumes, and Lucy played melodies that danced with the clouds. Amir shared experiments that sparked wonder, and soon, their voices were joined by many others. One by one, thoughts and dreams emerged from within, each unique voice mingling like a tapestry in the air. The teens learned that expressing themselves wasn't just about speaking. It was about sharing who they truly were. By dusk, smiles and laughter filled the square, and the once-lost voices resonated throughout the town. The teens had embraced their power to express and unlock their heartfelt sounds. In the months that followed, Jake's art inspired thousands, Lucy's music soared, and Amir's discoveries amazed. They realized the magic within them had always been there. They just needed a way to share it. The town felt more alive and connected, as each voice found its unique path to express. The Voices Unlocked Festival became an annual event, reminding everyone to listen and share their special voices. And so, the town's harmony echoed the belief that every voice deserves to be heard. Through heart, hope, and creativity, the teens discovered the remarkable power of their voices, no longer lost but found. As the years passed, Jake, Lucy, and Amir carried the heart of their festival wherever they went, inspiring others to unlock their silent sounds. They knew that every whisper had its own melody, waiting to be sung.